Good morning, boys and girls. We are nearing the midpoint of August. Well, all too soon, but we're still enjoying our summer. So we talked about the tabernacle last week and a place to worship God. We're still talking about Moses, but we're going to start by asking, if I said when I'm teaching in front of my students in a couple weeks, stop murmuring, are they going to know what I mean? They will by the time I'm done explaining it. But what does the word murmur mean? It's the idea of complaining, whining, griping. We're often challenged, and if you haven't been, you will be, not to be what's called a soft landing spot. In other words, not to be the spot where someone can come and complain. Well, that's where Miriam and Aaron found themselves. Now, I don't know, boys and girls, how much we've mentioned Miriam since way back to Moses and the bulrushes. When Moses was a baby in the bulrushes out in the water, who was it who stayed on the... It was Miriam, his sister. Well, Miriam comes back into the picture, unfortunately not in a good sense in this story in the Bible, boys and girls. If you want to follow along, we're in Numbers chapter 12. But Miriam gets together with Aaron, and they start to complain about Moses. Who does Moses think he is? Does Moses think only God talks to him? And they just start to murmur and complain, and they're grumbling about Moses. You know what else they're grumbling about? His wife. They're grumbling about Moses' wife. They say he married a foreigner, a lady from Ethiopia. And they're just complaining. They are going at it. Grumbling, complaining. And that grumbling and complaining between Aaron and Miriam, then they confront Moses. And now it becomes an argument. And they start bickering. Boys and girls, do you think God is pleased with that? Is God happy that Aaron and Miriam have been complaining? Of course not. The Bible tells us not to complain, not to murmur. Do you think he's happy that they're arguing? No. And who is Moses at this point? Moses is the leader. Moses has the position where he should have respect. And they're the closest people to him. They should be showing him the most respect, boys and girls. But they weren't. They were grumbling and they were complaining. Well, if you look in Numbers chapter 12, in verse number 4, and the Lord spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. Okay, think of it as mom and dad hears you bickering in another room, and they say, come here now. Yeah, they're in for trouble. Okay, that's what God basically says is, you come to the tabernacle, you come now, all three of you. So all three of them go to the tabernacle, they go to the door of the tabernacle, and God appears in a cloud. And he talks to them. And he reprimands. Do you know what reprimand means? It means, well, you didn't beat him with a stick. Your parents may have reprimanded you with a paddle of sorts before, or a wooden spoon. But God reprimands them. He corrects them. He says Moses is a meek man. The Bible says in verse number 3. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. God had a special job for Moses. Moses was in a special place. And yet Miriam and Aaron have complained against him. So God calls all three of them. He is not happy with them. He is not happy with the way that Aaron and Miriam are treating Moses. So, boys and girls, do you think God just kind of slaps him on the hand and says, don't do it again? I was waiting for that. Good news. Peter likes me enough not to slap me with the stick. No, boys and girls, God has to punish sin. There has to be a punishment for the sin that they've done. Verse number 6, and he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and I will speak unto him in a dream. It says, God says, I'm the one who talks to Moses. I'm a friend of Moses. I'm the one who tells Moses what to do. Moses is a special man. And he goes on, and he does have to punish boys and girls. There is a punishment that's going to come because they don't have respect. Verse number 11, and Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we do foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. He says that because in verse number 10, it tells us that when God disappears in that cloud, and they look at Miriam, she has the disease of leprosy. Boys and girls, what happened to people who had leprosy? They just take, yeah, goodbye, that's right, Peter. They couldn't just go home and take some Advil and be better. They had to leave the camp. They had to be cast out of the camp. So God leaves in the cloud. He leaves, and they look at Miriam, and she is covered in leprosy, boys and girls. She has to leave the camp. And Aaron says, Moses, don't do this. Was Moses the one who made her sick? No, Moses didn't make her sick. God had made her sick because of what she had done. Boys and girls, what if the other people knew, which they did, that Miriam and Aaron had complained? Do you think they would have thought they could have? You know, boys and girls, sometimes we do things because we see our parents do it, or we see a leader do it, or we see an adult do it, and we think it's okay for us, or we make the excuse it's okay for us because we've seen an adult do it. But boys and girls, there was a punishment because God wanted the people to know that complaining and bickering and fighting isn't okay. So Aaron pleads with Moses, heal her. So what does Moses do, boys and girls? What do you think his first response is? Does he look for some medicine? No. What is his first response, boys and girls? What does Moses do whenever there's a problem? That's right, Peter. His example for us is to pray. So Moses prays, he asks, he talks to God. Verse 13, and Moses cried unto the Lord, saying, Heal her now, O God, I beseech thee. Verse 14, and the Lord said unto Moses, If her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days, and after that, let her be received in again. They had rules, boys and girls, about what was clean and what was unclean, different things like that, where they had to be separated from the camp. And he says, just as if another instance had happened and she has to be separated from the camp, she needs to leave for 7 days. Go out, be unclean, and then she can come back. Boys and girls, do you think Miriam learned her lesson? She did. You think Aaron learned his lesson? He did. And Moses, yet again, has to lead. Boys and girls, sometimes there's people who give us trouble. Sometimes it's our family members. How are you going to react? Are you going to talk to God about it? You're going to love them like Peter's showing us? You're going to talk to God, or are you going to talk to a bunch of other people first? What's going to be your response when somebody's unkind to you, or when you think things aren't fair? Moses wasn't unkind to them, but they felt like things weren't fair, like they should be treated special like Moses. Are you going to run to God? You're going to run to people around you. Boys and girls, I hope you'll run to God. I hope you'll pray to him to ask for help. I hope this week you won't get caught complaining or bickering.